Babylon happens to be where? It's America, as prescribed to us through the book of Revelations. And Babylon, who is the mother of harlots. He's coming here. When he comes here, notice, he has found all the people gathered here. Why have they gathered here? Because they were brought here by way of slavery. Remember, in Second Ezra, we are told that those that were gathered, who were the northern kingdom, built themselves ships, and by the narrow passage, which is the passage between Africa and what is called America, came through that narrow passage and came down, and thus how they ended up in the Americas, the northern kingdom. They are the oldest people and the true aborigines of America, not red Indians, but black men and black women. They were brought here by the will of the Most High God. They were the ones who built up all of the history here, going back to the days of the Incas, the Mayans, and the Aztecs. Those are the three major groups in the southeastern section of the Americas, what's called South America. Those people matriculated into the upper sections, still operating by the terms tribes. They took on new names to reflect their environment. Some were called Navajo. Some were called Apache. Some were called, Munchie, yeah. Some were called Chickasaw. All these different names came about because they adopted names to the environment. It's like the place that they called Nebraska. It was called Nahava. Nahava. That's what it was called. The white man came and called it Nebraska. You see, Nahava was what we, our people, our descendants, called it. Original Indian names. Chicago, those are Indian names. And notice, it was a slave who went there and founded the land, founded meaning, started to trade among them. It wasn't, and his name was something Jean-Baptiste or whatever it was, but he was the one that founded Chicago. And Chicago, that was where a great Indian nation was. Remember, brothers and sisters, you are the people who were here originally. Now, I know I'm making this a bit long-winded, but you can't shorten it. And I don't think we give credit to our people when we short answer things, because it leaves room for others to come in and put their versions and mess it up. So when I explain it this way, you then begin to realize that you are people who are ancient, right? Now, as those nations grew, what happened was, when so-called Christopher Columbus, who was Cristobal Colon, was his real name, when he first came, the anglicized version is Christopher Columbus, but Cristobal Colon, that was his real name. He came and he saw, and in his book, and I have his book, his memoir book, he said we could take these people so easily with trinkets. And so what did they do? They did the same thing. They came back with armadas filled with men and cannons and horses, and what did they do? They blasted asunder our people who were afraid because of the cannon fodder and all of those things that destroyed many of our people, and it subjugated them. Then they went on to look at how could they build a nation. What happened was, as they were trying to build, the germs that they brought with them made, because they were having sex with our women and having sex with our men. Because remember, the white man is a natural homosexual. Natural, meaning he can go either way. And so what happened was, he brought that immoral action into our people, and that their disease started to kill off many of the nations. And as it did so, they realized the only way that they could build here would be to bring people from another place who were already seasoned to all of the diseases, and bring them here and mix them with these people, and thus creating a new breed of people, which really wasn't a new breed. All you were doing was bringing Israelite to Israelite. That's all you were doing. And so the ones who came over, again, were now bought by slaves are called, originally called, the Southern Kingdom. Because the Northern Kingdom, which were the Indians, the Apache, the Navajo, all of those names, they were already here. That's the Northern Kingdom. Then when they came over, then they brought slaves to the Jamaicas, then the islands of the Caribbean, and those were considered to be the Benjamites. The Benjamites eventually came over here. The Levites came over here, and thus we have a melting pot of all of the 12 tribes already here in the Americas. And this is where they are. And remember, even the so-called white man knew that because they put up plaques in the different areas of the Americas saying this is the hill of the Israelites. They have done that. And there are at least 5 places to my remembrance where they put up plaques unto black men who were slaves that they knew were Israelites. Here's the joke of it, however. They built a museum which cost millions of dollars, which a black man architecturally designed and engineered. And it is there where they put all the slavery things and everything there in Washington, D.C. And isn't it funny? It was a black man who designed all of Washington, D.C. But the Most High God would have a black man now come and put that museum there. But one of the things, when you go to the museum, you will never find any artifacts that claim the Israelite men were here. They left those on the streets with the hopes that they will rot and fall down and people will forget about them. So, back to the point, long-winded though it may be, you are all gathered here from various parts of the earth because it is here in Babylon where our nations and our people will be, so that when Yahushua returns and sets foot here with the angels and the chariots, and remember, most of the chariots will be over here, all in the sky, over the cities, because it is there when Jacob's trouble break loose. And for those you say, well, it's not going to trouble me, you want to bet? It's going to come and knock on your door so hard, and you're going to run for your life. The scripture tells us that we will do that. And it is then he's going to come and take us out and deliver us. So that's a short but compact version of how everybody got here. Obviously there's a lot more, but I would advise you to go to a teaching that we did, which was on the 12 tribes. There are many teachings online, which are the 12 tribes. The best one that I know of was the one that was done long before myself. I'm only patting myself on the one that they've done, but using a lot more up-to-date information to make it all come true.